The Green Bay Packers, who have been playing good football lately. Really impressive performance in Seattle. One of their better complete team victories of the season. Defensively, they were great. Jordan Love was awesome. Josh Jacobs, great on the first drive. Quieter the rest of the game. Thought LaFleur actually called a great game, too. Very creative. Romeo Doubs stepped up and was awesome. Edrin Cooper, the rookie, he came back and he my gosh, what a performance he had. The Packers are one of those teams where I don't think there's a lot of flaws on them. I think they're a very complete football team, and that's what you saw against Seattle. My biggest worry for them, and similar to the Eagles in a way, is I think they're just great across the board. But if it comes down to them going to Philly, going to Detroit, going to Minnesota, whatever it might be, even if it's Seattle again, if Jordan Love doesn't play like a superstar, I don't know if I believe that they can actually win the Super Bowl. And they might even go to the championship game. I think their team is good enough to advance a couple rounds if Jordan's not playing at superstar level. But to win a Super Bowl and beat the teams that they're going to have to, I think you're going to need great Jordan Love. And I believe he can play that way. I really do. I'd say it's not a huge concern to me, but I would say that's the worry is what if he just plays mediocre football and has those mistakes he had earlier in the year where he's turning the ball over and failing in the red zone. That to me is the biggest concern for Packer fans, which in all things considered, not that bad of a concern because he's been playing great since the bye.
Yeah, for me, it's not what if Jordan Love plays mediocre football. I'd reframe it just what if he plays merely good football. I don't think Jordan Love's going to sink down to being an average quarterback. He's been quietly having one of the best seasons in the NFL this year, if you look at things a little bit more closely than box score. But when you talk about this Packers defense, I think you have to sit back and wonder, besides the Malik Willis games, which were just weird and different, how many games has the defense actually won the Packers this year? I mean, you could look at the Rams game if you wanted. That was like a solid performance, but not elite.
Yeah, but also
The
no Cooper
Texans'
Cup or Matt
performance was
or,
all
or
right.
no Cooper Cup or Puka Nakua.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, it's the defense played okay against a demolished team. I think the Texans game is a good one to point at. Joe Mixon had his way, but CJ Stroud had a horrific game. Admittedly, no Nico Collins in that one, but still. The defense has not won the Packers games. It's stopped them from losing games. It's meant that when Jordan Love plays great against the Dolphins or the Seahawks or the 49ers or even like the Bears, the defense just holds up their end of the bargain, right? Against the Jaguars, the offense had a good day. It was sort of the same thing. Not Jordan Love's best game, but like Josh Jacobs had a great game. So all that to say, I think you're right, not to focus on this defense. The question is, can Jordan Love go from playing good football, the kind of football that like leaves you with close losses to the Lions and the Vikings, to great football? The kind of things where when you get that chance for a game-winning drive, you get it ready. Right? You look at the 49ers game last year. Jordan Love had a good game. He played solid football, but he wasn't great. When the moment came, he threw an interception on a bad pass. Game was over. So that's going to be what it takes. As you say, I don't think this team's any worse than last year. I don't think their ceiling's any lower. I don't think their floor's any lower. But you need Jordan Love when the moment comes to be able to step up and have those like career defining moments where it's like, we need you, Jordan. Aaron Rodgers had a lot of those where the Packers turned to Aaron Rodgers. I know in the playoffs at the end, it soured, but we're Vikings fans. How many moments did Aaron Rodgers have where the Packers stepped up and said, buddy, we need you? And he stepped up and delivered an incredible moment. They need some of that from Jordan Love.
And I think they're a better team this year too than they were last year. The difference
How
is
could they not be?
last year they were red hot. Like they were playing better at this point in the season last year, or they've been playing better for what, like mid-November through the 49er game. So I agree with you. I think it's about recapturing that ceiling, and someone will do it. Like one of these teams will do it in the NFC, and whoever it is probably going to go to the Super Bowl. So I think Packer fans don't have any reason to think it's not going to be them, because they've shown between all these teams, they've shown a great ability to reach their ceiling when it matters. Jordan Love has done it for one season, and I think they're trending in a better direction than maybe anyone except Minnesota pre-Chicago game, right? Like the Vikings are red hot. They're playing great football. Philadelphia, they're trending up as well, but I think the Packers are on that same trajectory where we're going to see all these teams competing in big-time games soon. And if Jordan Love's playing superstar football, I might pick the Packers to win a few of those games. So I'm with you. I'm with you for the most part. And it's a good point. Saying Jordan Love needs to be a superstar is also a little bit because I don't know. I trust the defense, but I don't trust them the same way that that I would trust like Kansas City's defense, for instance. It's a good unit. It's not a great unit. And for that reason, you will need Jordan Love to score some points. So are the Eagles right now your favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC?
I think so.
Hard not to say
It's
it,
hard.
right?
It's hard to see who else you'd pick. I
Well,
can't pick Minnesota.
well, one of those teams could be the Minnesota Vikings, who currently are the 5 seed in the NFC. And the Vikings, so this hits close to home for me. Like, this is my team. I know them better than I know any team, including the Packers, including our most popular fan base here. The Vikings, to me, there'll always be like a plethora of issues that are probably more significant to me than the national media or even just casual observers would admit. I do think there are 2 of them that stick out to me, maybe even 3. Tell me which one you think is bigger, Ziggy, bigger concern. Sam Darnold. Do you trust him in the biggest moments still? He's been great this year, but that has to be a worry for Vikings fans. Is if you do wind up getting into these games with Baltimore or with Detroit and Philadelphia, and you go on the road, are you going to get a version of Sam Darnold that can compete with those teams and frankly not just compete but win? Or are you going to get the Jaguars version of Sam? On the other side, and this is a real worry for me. The defense has been great all year, but they have had some troubles against the elite offenses. They struggled mightily against Detroit for the second and third quarter of that game. They got picked apart by the Rams. They couldn't get to Stafford. I don't know what was going on. Like, they have had their moments where it's been tough to watch that defense. And most of the year, they've been great. They've bullied a lot of the worst teams in the league. But even Green Bay in the second half, or really the fourth quarter of that game, became unstoppable. I have my concerns about the defense, as good as they are, that if they can't get pressure against these elite teams, they're just going to get picked apart. So, which one do you think is bigger?
It's not Sam Darnold. And I will tell you what I think has really been the game changer. I was reading a Mike Sando article about this morning. Sam Darnold historically has been good when ahead and putrid when behind. That was his problem with the Jets. That was his problem during that Panthers run. Every stat fell off a cliff once he was forced to play behind and teams knew he was going to pass the ball. With the Vikings, it's been the opposite. You know, at the start of the season, we couldn't really tell how Sam Darnold was playing from behind because he never did it. We've gotten to see that the past month. And the answer when Sam Darnold is behind is he plays better. Completion percentage up. Yards per attempt up, passer rating up, EPA per pass up, explosive pass rate up, first down rate up. Almost any stat you could think of, Sam Darnold has done better when behind than ahead. So when you talk about rising up those big moments, it's hard to quantify what that means. It's been the regular season. He hasn't had real pressure on him in the same way, right? There weren't expectations going in. They've been the feel-good story of the NFL. But Sam Darnold playing well from behind, when the Vikings realized they were good, when they realized we're competing for a playoff spot, and maybe if things go just our way, the 1 seed, I'm very pleased to see that, and that makes me less worried. The defense is a worry, though. And it's a little bit like talking about the Ravens. I think our defense is better than the Ravens' defense. But the question isn't whether the Vikings' defense will be acceptable. It'll be acceptable. The question is, like, will they be able to avoid the collapses where if you're giving up 30 points or more, you need Sam Darnold, the Vikings offense, to match that? It's just hard to do that. And in the NFC, you've got a lot of the best offenses in the NFL. Now, I'm maybe not as worried about that as you. I know you're right. They've given up some points to good offenses, but like giving up 31 points to Detroit doesn't freak me out that much. Giving up 29 to Green Bay, I know that's not what you want to see.
I mean, I'm just scarred, man. I'm just scarred.
No, a lot of teams. Who's done a better job containing the Lions' offense?
Oh no, I totally
Not
get it. I totally get it. I'm just scarred from the past, and that's why I'm worried.
It's certainly a bigger worry. I mean, when the Vikings lose to the Bears tonight, then I'm going to be freaking out. But
please, no.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I totally get it. But I don't know. This Vikings team, I don't think they're the best team in the NFC. I think they're maybe the 3rd best team with all these Lions injuries, maybe the 2nd best team. But it just doesn't feel like they have any glaring weaknesses other than what if Sam Darnold looks like he's in New York again?
Yeah, and Darnold also, like, I do trust Sam. That's probably why my heart will be ripped out, but Against the Bears, clutch drive to win the game. Clutch drive that should have won the game, then a clutch drive in overtime to win the game. Did it against the Cardinals. He did against the Packers when Green Bay got that game close, so we needed a drive. Sam got down the field, got us a field goal to go up 9 points. Like he has been.
That was a Sam Darnold that had before that put up 0 points in the second half.
Yeah, no, he had, but also, he had the interception that should have been called back. Like there, I think Sam, for the most part this season, I can only think of the Rams game where he had the face mask. Right, the face mask was when we were down 8. That was one time we didn't convert when we had to, and that one I'm willing to give leeway, even though that was just a bad game for us. And then was the Lions. We had the 3rd and 4 with a chance to kind of put the game out of reach. It's like one play. There's really like one play this year where Sam has failed, and in those situations. So I do trust them, and I do trust the team, and that's why I'm likely to be really, really upset in January. But whatever.
That video will do great.
I'm a believer. Yeah. But that video will do great. So